Hi, and welcome to my lesson. Today we are answering questions on measurement, which forms a large part of paper 2. It carries a lot of marks. A mathematics teacher is making teaching aids for a lesson on measurement. She draws shapes, paints them, and sticks them on the classroom walls. The shape below illustrates one of the teaching aids. So if you look at this shape, it does not have a mathematical name, but it's a combination of shapes, which are rectangles. If you look at this shape, it's a rectangle, this shape is a rectangle, this shape is a rectangle. So let's answer 13.1 first, and then 13.2, and then 13.3. Now, 13.1, a learner uses a string to measure the perimeter of the shaded figure. What is the length of the string used? So they are indirectly asking you to calculate the perimeter of this shape. So what is perimeter? Perimeter is the total distance around the edge of a shape. So we are only concerned about the outside of a shape. The inside parts will not be included in the calculations because we're only looking at the outside of this shape. So, but if you look at this shape nicely, you realize that they left out intentionally so some dimensions of this shape, like this dimension here, and then this dimension and this dimension. They did not label them, but they expect you to label them. So if this is a rectangle and this opposite side is 40 centimeters, it means even the top one, it's going to be a 40 centimeters. And then if from here to that's 120 centimeters, and from here to that 60, the difference between these two numbers will give us the length from here to there. So, and it's going to be a 60. So it's 120 minus 60, it's going to be 60 centimeters. And then if from here to that's 100, and then from here to that's 20, and from here to that 60, it means, and from here to that's 20, it means from here to there, it's a 40. So this is a 40. So 20 centimeters plus the 40 centimeters will give us a 60, and we subtract it from this 100, it's going to give us a 40. This is a 40 centimeters there. But we are not going to use this inside one, this 40 centimeters, in calculating perimeter. So I'm going to add all these dimensions. As long as all the sides are added, you do not need to use a formula. So I'm going to start with 100. This is perimeter. It's going to be 100 plus 40 plus 20 plus 120 plus 60 plus 60 plus 20 plus 60 plus 40 plus 40. It's going to give us a total of 560 centimeters. And moving on to 13.2, they said we should calculate the area of the shape in meters squared. And you'll realize that the dimensions given on this diagram are all in centimeters. Someone may choose to convert them first, or someone may choose to convert them at the end, but I choose to convert at the end because I find it to be easier and time saving. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to try to calculate the shape, the area of these shapes individually. So, and how am I going to do that? I'm going to break this shape into 3 parts. So I'm going to label this as a rectangle 1. This is going to be rectangle 2, and this is going to be rectangle 3, since it does not have a mathematical name. So I will not have a formula to calculate this whole area at once. I will need to break it into parts. So area of shape 1, it's going to be L by B since it's a rectangle, and the length is 100 centimeters times the breadth of 40 centimeters, which will give me 4,000 centimeter squared. And area 2, it's also a length times breadth, and the length that's 120 centimeters times the 40 centimeters, which will give me 4,800 centimeters squared. And area 3, it's also a length times breadth, it's a rectangle. It's a 60 times 20 centimeters, which will give me 1,200 centimeters squared. So in order to get the total area, I need to add all of them from area 1 to area 3. So it's going to be 4,000 centimeters squared of area 1 plus 4,800 plus 1,200, which will give me a total of 10,000 centimeter squared. But they said they need the area in meters squared. So I'm going to take the 10,000 centimeter squared and divide it by 100 squared, because I'm converting from centimeter squared to meter squared. So I'm going to get 1 meter squared. Remember, to convert from centimeters to meters, you divide by 100. But from centimeter squared to meter squared is a division by 100 squared. I want us to move on to 13.3. She has prepared 2 of these shapes for the class and paints the shape with 2 coats of paint. If 1 liter of paint covers 6.2 meters squared, the salesman at the hardware store stated that a 500 milliliter can is not enough to cover the shapes as needed. So this is a question on rate. So they're telling us that 1 liter will paint 6.2 meters squared. So before we begin the calculations, we must determine the total area to be painted. So it's a total of 1 meter squared area, but it has to be 2 of this size. So we're going to multiply it by 2, and then we get a 2 meters squared. And then they said it's going to be 2 coats. So the 2 meters squared will further be multiplied by 2 since it's the double coat, and will give us a total of 4 meters squared. Now, if 1 liter paints 6.2 meters squared, how about 4 meters squared? It will be painted by how much? We do not know. So I'm going to put a question mark. So now I'm going to do a cross multiplication on this. So I have got the left-hand side here. I've got the left-hand side, my left-hand side, and I've got my right-hand side. So now I cross multiply only numbers. So if you look nicely, on the left, there's 1 and a question mark. On the right, there's 6.2 and 4. So I'm going to cross multiply 1 and 4 and use the 1 which will be in cross multiplication with the question mark to divide, which is the 6.2. So I'm going to say 1 times 4 divided by 6.2, which will give me 0.65 liters. So now each unit should be represented 2 times. So meter squared is 2 times liters. So the answer which we get should be in liters as well, because where there's a question mark, there should be liters, so that it gets to be represented 2 times. Now we can conclude and say, therefore, the conclusion was correct, because they said 500 milliliters will not be enough. Indeed, they need 650 milliliters.